Well, a very good evening to each and every one of you, and welcome to this week's episode of Your Manchester with me, Miss Belinda Scandal.
And me, Mr. Mark Llewellyn.
How the heck and the devil are you, Flower?
I'm very well, my love. How are you?
I'm very, very good. Thank you very much.
Good.
I've had a lovely week.
Yes, you've been all over the place, haven't you?
I've been Birmingham, Leeds, but I had to come back to Manchester.
Right.
Because it's the place that does the best pies.
Well, it's funny you should say that.
It's almost like it's planned, some would say.
I know.
Got tapped by my bush. Go on.
I thought you had green fly when I walked in.
Thank you.
It's National Pie Week this week.
Right.
Yes. So we're celebrating all kinds of pie.
Yes, we are. My favourite has got to be a creamy chicken and mushroom.
Oh, yes.
With a bit of leek potentially as well.
And would you have a bit of white wine in there?
I wouldn't waste wine in a pie. That goes down my gullet, Flower. I've discovered a lovely wine, you know.
Oh, what wine is that?
It's called Vacaras.
Right.
It's a red wine, and it's absolutely beautiful. And do you know what it goes with?
No.
Cheese.
You
It's
do
lovely.
like a bit of cheese,
I
don't you?
love a bit of cheese. I had a lovely blue Stilton
Yes.
the other day,
Right.
and it repeated on me something terrible.
Well, they do, don't they?
They do.
I've had that before now. Yes.
What's your favourite pie?
I'm not sure I have a favourite pie.
No. Favourite
I
brand
do.
of pie?
Well, I can't plug a brand.
Oh, go on.
Not
give
unless
it
they
a
pay
go.
me.
Oh.
I mean, I do like, funnily enough, nice cheese and onion pie. But I tell you what I do.
Mm.
And I tell you where I get them from. I will plug a brand.
Yeah.
Booths.
Oops.
I drive all the way to Knutsford to get them. A butter pie.
I don't think I've ever had one of them.
Have you not?
No, I remember Harriet Thorpe a few years ago.
Yes.
She told me to buy a lovely invention. It's a pie maker.
Well, I seem to remember she was demonstrating it.
Demonstrating it, yes.
With Gok
Gwan. Yes.
Yes.
Telling us how it's all done. It's very clever.
Oh, I
but
don't make my own.
It doesn't make it as crispy as
No,
well, does it?
no.
I mean, you can't go wrong with a bit of Greg's, really. I've got to be honest.
I don't go in Greg's.
As we say in Wigan, a bit of meat and tater.
I was in Wigan on Sunday.
Did you go down Pier?
Saturday, rather. Did I? No,
No.
I didn't. I was at a rather lovely house.
Whose house?
Well, I can't tell you.
Oh,
that.
right. Lovely. Lovely.
But yeah.
So, yeah, National Pie Week, is it?
Yes. Will you be eating pies all this week in
Well, no,
celebration?
because tomorrow,
Yes.
Pancake Day.
Oh, I'd forgotten that.
Oh,
It
got my
is,
batter
isn't
in,
it?
got my eggs in.
So, did you bring any in today for the studio?
No, I don't like to preempt things, you know what I mean?
Yes. And do you want sweet or savoury on your pancakes?
Well, this is the thing that I discovered. I've got a story of everything.
Yes.
So, you know, because
food-wise.
I like going to do a bit of France.
Yes.
Yes. So when I was in France, they have pancakes, crepes, don't
Yes,
they?
they do.
Now, I'd never thought I would enjoy a savoury pancake, but they do it with buckwheat.
Ah, okay.
And it's, something with a bit of cheese in there and everything. It is absolutely delightful.
Would you not remember the Dutch pancake house that used to be
on
St.
next
Peter's Square?
Yes, that used to be. I used to go in there, have one of
Yes.
the pancakes,
Yeah.
and then I'd go next door down the stairs. There was a
Yes.
music shop, and that's where I used to get my backing tracks from.
There we are, you
Yeah.
see. I knew there'd be a food link somewhere along the road.
Because, you know, I know Manchester inside out.
Yes, you do.
Yes.
Well, now we better move on. I'm getting a signal. Who is on the show? Because you've done all the interviews without me this week.
Well, do you know, it's been lovely, though, speaking to them, because they're all very, very interesting, and all very different stories this week as well.
Yes.
So this week, we're going to be speaking about Pride and Prejudice.
Right.
Sort
yes.
of.
Yes, I knew Jane Austen. Went to school with her.
Did you?
Yes.
I'm glad you got there before me. We're also speaking to Rosalie Minnit, who's got a lovely story to tell us.
Right.
And also, though, the wonderful Nathaniel Hall.
Oh, we like a bit of Nathaniel Hall.
Now, he's going from bigger to better and better things.
Yes.
And his new show is coming out within a matter of weeks. And we're very, very excited about that.
Well, why don't we go over to the interview you did some moments ago?
Well, joining us in the studio now is a person that has managed to develop themselves into the high quality of wonderful theatre, everybody. And we're here to talk today with Nathaniel Hall, with a J.
A J in the middle. I use the J,
What
yes.
does it stand for?
It stands for Jonathan, but
Does it?
yeah, there's another actor called Nathaniel Hall, you see, so I
It's
added it.
equity, is it?
Yeah, I put the J in. And it sounds a bit fancy, doesn't it? You've got Russell T. Davis, so Nathaniel J.
All
Hall.
the good writers.
Yeah.
All the good writers. This is your second show that you've written and penned.
Yes.
Penned. And it's called Toxic.
It is called Toxic,
Now,
yeah.
this, I think we've seen this somewhere, haven't we?
Yes, it premiered in 2023 at home in autumn 2023.
And it did remarkably well.
It did very well. We had to put extra shows on and there was a waiting list. So, yeah, was really surprised by that.
let's talk about the story. What is the story all about?
So Toxic is my second show. My first show, first time, was autobiographical. It was all about my journey with HIV, diagnosed at 16 for my first time, 15 years in secrecy, silence and shame and everything that comes with that. And then this kind of very public coming out through that show, which then, I was on BBC Breakfast and all sorts of kind of go 0 to 100. And Toxic's kind of the next chapter. So it's only semi-autobiographical to try and protect people's identities and stuff within it and to protect me. But the show looks a bit more at the messiness of kind of HIV stigma and growing up queer and how that impacts our relationships with one another. So when I made First Time is like a sort of like rags to riches, queer coming of age. Everyone's up on their feet, clapping and crying at the end. It's got a standing ovation kind of show. And actually the reality in my personal life was much different. So my professional life was going like this. Personal life was going like this. I was in a really toxic relationship, codependent, at times abusive, actually. We were stuck in a very dark cycle of drugs and sex and abusive behaviour to one another. And I sort of thought, I feel like I've sold a lie with First Time. Not a lie, but it's more complicated, isn't it, life? So I thought I wanted to write a second one. So Toxic is the story of two queer people who, in their own words, meet, fall in love and mess it up. So it's kind of an anti-love story. We see them fall head over heels. It's set in the underground rave scene of Manchester, queer rave scene. So in that kind of hedonistic world, lots of drugs, lots of party, lots of sex. They fall head over heels for one another and they think they've met the one. They've both lived lives, 30-something. They've had bad relationships prior. And they fall into this very toxic relationship and we see them spiral and it ends really badly.
And how do you... Because you're so close to the story, how do you go about writing that? I mean, is there any, when you're writing it, do you think, I'll miss that out, it's a bit too close?
Well, the thing is, I've got this thing about being really, really brutally honest. And it's part of my own therapy of trying to learn from the things that I've been through. Because, this is not a piece of revenge art. This is not revenge on my ex. Like that, it's not about that relationship. It is a new story.
Is your ex aware that you've written this?
Yeah, I think so, yeah. But it's not about them. It's about this couple. It's got my own experiences in it, but writing, it's about me looking at myself more than anything else. It's not about me pointing the finger and blaming other people. It's about going, what have I done to hurt other people and where's that come from? Because I think LGBTQ plus people are magic, right? But we know that, rates of depression, anxiety, mental health, drug use, we know it's higher. And that's not because we're bad people, that's because the world gives us a bad deal, right? So it's trying to look at that with a compassionate lens and look at like things like how does HIV stigma show up in a relationship? How does racism show up in a relationship? Because there's racism in our community as well, right? So how do these things show up and sabotage our relationships? So for me, it's real therapy, getting it out on the page and the stage. But there's a process and it is a work of fiction and there's lots of other people's stories in it as well because I did lots of interviews and workshops.
So you researched other people's stories as well then?
Yeah, I wanted to go further beyond my own story and kind of go, are other people struggling with some of the things that I've struggled with? And I categorically I can say yes, lots of people had stories they wanted to tell.
Was that therapy for you then?
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, I also have professional paid therapy along doing it because I think that's important. But I think it really is like looking with like that kind of level of intensity over a long period of time and writing and analysing it. And also turning it into fiction is really good because you can create characters that can then, you can play it out differently. So you can go, well, that happened in real life. What would happen if I changed it that way or made it so that they didn't say that thing, or actually that was an act of love and kindness instead of an act of sabotage. So you can play around and you learn lots about yourself when you write it.
So this is, like we say, it's done very, very well. How are we seeing this on stage? How is it being done? Because it wasn't done, as I recall, small scale by any means of the imagination.
No. It's a studio piece, but it's kind of got high production values. So got an amazing team. It's not just me, brilliant team. We've got original music by a DJ and musician called Shah from Manchester. So that's kind of original house music mixed with a lot of Britney Spears, because obviously with a name like Toxic, we can't have a bit of Miss Spears in there. We've got visuals from Dee Dee, who works at the White Hotel. So Dee Dee does projected visuals at the White Hotel Club. So we've got those projected onto the stage. We've got amazing lighting, a beautiful set, which is sort of halfway between an underground club and a Manchester terrace house with like lots of neon on it. It's really, really beautiful. A movement as well by a company called Plasticast, a trans theatre company. So we've got all those elements into the storytelling, as well as the kind of the humour, because it's a very funny show as well, despite the subject matter. The humour, the movement, it's a real assault on the senses. And when you go, you feel like you're about to start. It's like the start of one of those messy nights out, which is like...
How important is it for you to inject humour into a piece that, for you personally is quite a serious thing?
Yeah, I mean, humour's everything. I keep saying, though, Belinda, I'm trying to write serious drama and everyone still laughs. So I don't know whether it's the way I write or it's just my life is very funny. No, I think humour's super important. Like, that's how we deal with things. And queer people, we have all this stuff thrown at us, but we are so resilient. And I think our wit and our humour and our creativity are kind of, indicative of our resilience and our strength. And you see it in drag, you see it in queer art, in queer music. I think, humour's everything. And it's a great way to connect with an audience, isn't it, as well?
And where's it on at?
So it's on at the Lowry in April, but it's touring the UK from March.
It's exciting, isn't it?
Yeah.
Very exciting. What's next for you then?
Well, I'm just penning my third show.
Which, can you give us the title?
Well, I probably can on your channel, but
yes.
some channels, I'm not allowed to say the title yet. We need to work that out. So my next show is called A-Hole.
Yes.
I'm going back to doing a one-person show.
Right.
It's a sort of stand-up show, looking at our relationship
You're
with
a brave artist,
with that most intimate
Yeah.
body part, because this is the third chapter. This is all about finding true pride. I've lived a life, and like lots of queer people have, and this is about me going, let's rid myself of any residual shame about where I find pleasure, which is anal sex. And there is we have so many hang-ups about that. So I want to make a show that asks all the big questions about that. Like,
you're going to ask the questions.
The big questions, yeah. And that's going to be a very fun, kind of frivolous show. I think it will still have some serious themes. It's me, obviously. But I think that's going to be a riotous night out. And I'm doing a little sharing of that at home in a week's time as well.
For now, though, Nathaniel J. Hall, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you. He's got lovely stories.
He's a lovely guy as well, isn't he?
Very nice guy. Gone through a lot.
Yes.
And out of that, he's born all these lovely stories. Of course, the biggest story that, of course, was when he contracted HIV at such a young age.
Yes, absolutely. And in fact, we are working at the moment with Manchester Pride, aren't we? On a very special scheme that we're going to be running over the next few months. So having a special feature here on Your Manchester, we're going to be talking about people living with HIV. We're going to be talking about attitudes to HIV, which certainly when I was at school, we had all those.
When I was at school, it was horrible. Horrible.
The adverts on television, those big slabs of granite.
Yeah.
And it left you frightened for your lives. But did it do good as well? And also today, we hear so much about PrEP.
Yes.
Does that mean that people are not considering sexually transmitted disease and so on because of the new advances in medication and things? So we're actually going to be having this as a talking point over the next few weeks.
That's right, we are indeed. And if you want to get involved in that talking point and indeed involved in our new project, all you need to do is simply go to our website and go to contact us at yourmcr.com. Do get involved. We want to hear all your stories.
Yes, and we're actually going to be having a drop-in event, which we'll give the details of over the next few weeks here in Manchesterford. So people can come in and chat to us and perhaps record their experiences if they want to. If not, chat to the two of us.
Yeah.
And out of that will become a whole catalogue of stories that maybe will inspire and provide advice to other people.
It's lessons, isn't it? It's lessons, because like you say, things are changing.
Yeah.
A lot of people, from my experience, are getting a bit irresponsible. Now we've discovered that we can have PrEP.
Yeah.
So all these things we need to tackle.
Absolutely. And we want to thank Manchester Pride for supporting us with
Indeed, we definitely do.
So, on with the next guest.
So I sat down with a lovely lady. She was called Isabel Donkin.
Right.
And she's part of this seems to be a trend at the moment of taking these classical pieces of literature, turning them into plays, but digressing to make them more digestible for modern day audiences. Let's have a look at this. Well, as far as great works of literature go, Jane Austen is right up there, everybody. And lots of plays have celebrated her works. And we're now going to be talking about one of these wonderful works called Pride and Prejudice. Well, sort of. To tell us more about it, please welcome Isabel Donkin. Welcome to the show, Isabel. How are you?
Hello, I'm fantastic, thank you. How are you?
I'm very good. Now, we should say right from the outset, this isn't really totally dedicated Pride and Prejudice. It's not fully the story, is it?
No, so it is a version of Pride and Prejudice told from the perspective of the maids. So the 5 actresses play all of the parts, including Mr. Darcy, Mr. Bingley, Charlotte Lucas, Elizabeth Bennet, of course. And it's a comedic, fun, full of heart production. It's fantastic, really worth seeing.
So how has the comedy been weaved into such a standout piece of literature?
So it takes some modern references, such as snacks, and I don't want to spoil it, but and more modern use of language. So a little bit of coarse language that you wouldn't necessarily expect from a Mr. Darcy, but it's all in light-hearted fun. It's yeah.
So we're still getting the flavour of the piece then. It's just been kind
Oh
of
yes.
adapted so that I guess a lot more audiences will feel more relaxed without it being kind of force-fed to them.
Completely, and it follows like the heart of the characters and the truth behind it, because at the end of the day it's a romance, and it's the heart of the story but in a condensed, comedic, funny version. There's a fantastic bit where James just met Charles Bingley, and she within a few minutes is, I'm in love with him, but I won't go into it anymore. You have to come
So
and see it, of course.
is it heavily scripted then, or do you deviate from the script at all?
It's scripted. It's the whole thing's scripted, and it's just from a modern perspective, in a more modern tongue, but with the heart of the story, and moments of the classical traditional text, but woven in with in a tongue that we can much more understand now.
And of course, a lot of people think of Jane Austen, think of the costumes. Are you wearing the period costumes?
Yes, so the costumes, there are some period costumes, but there are some fantastic quick changes. So all of the actors are multi-rolling. So, for example, the Darcy track also plays Mrs. Bennet. So there's lots of moments where Mr. Darcy goes off stage, and suddenly Mrs. Bennet, the vivacious older woman, then comes in and takes over and is trying to manage her daughters. And then the next moment, Mr. Darcy's back. So you see the costumes, but in a different, quicker swap, quicker costume changes.
This must take its toll on the actors in this then. I mean, if they're having to remember so many lines and so many characterizations as well.
Oh yeah, it's physically and technically it's very demanding, and the girls are absolutely fantastic. Swapping from one character to the next, and all of the characters are so different and so distinguished, with different accents and obviously different characterizations. And literally, take the costume off, drop. I'll use Mr. Darcy again as an example. Drop Mr. Darcy, and suddenly vivacious Mrs. Bennet's back. It's fabulous. It's so lively and so joyful.
It sounds very high energy for a Jane Austen play, doesn't it?
Oh yes. Oh, it's very high energy. Very, very high energy.
All right then, tell us where this is coming to and when it's on then.
So it's going to the Lowry in Manchester, Salford, and it is not next week, week after. So we get there on the Monday. So I need to double check.
18th to the 22nd.
Thank you very much. Thank you. I should have known that off the top of my head.
It sounds like it's going to be amazing. We are looking forward to this just because it sounds, well, my favourite word, it sounds quite wacky.
Oh, it's got a very wacky, very, very wacky, and a lot of fun.
That's what you need from a night out, isn't it? It's doing well, though. It's getting good reviews everywhere it's going. So, I mean, people should go and watch this, shouldn't they?
Oh, 100%. It's like a fantastic show, and you can't come out without a smile on your face. And listen to some fantastic music, fantastic singing, and it's just great fun, really great fun.
We're looking forward to this at the Lowry, 18th to the 22nd of this month. I can't believe it's March already. Isabel, thank you so much for your time. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Have a lovely day.
So plenty of Jane Austen-esque style show coming your way.
Well, we
there.
do like a bit of that, don't we? A bit of fan work.
It is, and I love the costumes. Love the costumes.
Mm.
There's a lot of people taking these beautiful sort of historical scenarios.
Yes. Do you think it's because of Bridgerton and things like that?
It's got to be. Have you watched it?
No, because I don't have Netflix.
Do you not? You can have my password if you want.
No, thank you. No, I'm never in.
Oh, you know you're not.
No.
You're very busy, aren't you?
Yes,
Very,
yes.
very busy. There's a story called Clementine.
Yes.
And it's going to be at the Frog and Bucket.
Right.
And it's going to be featuring Rosalie Minnit, who is just fabulous.
Right. Well.
Quirky. Quirky is the word I'd use for her. And I spoke to her, not last week, not the week before, but the week before that.
Oh, yes.
Would you like to have a little perusal?
I certainly would, madam.
Let's have a perusal. Tell us all about Clementine.
So it's a character comedy show, sort of like vaguely based in like Regency era, but generally just kind of based on the past. And it's a character comedy show I've been working on for the past few years, and I'm finally able to bring it to like some different places. So I'm really excited and also a little bit terrified to see how it'll go down, just because you never really know what to expect. But it's basically about a girl on her quest to find love, loosely put. And yeah, she gets into all sorts of scrapes and adventures on the way, but it's pretty absurd and I think it's a fun hour is how I describe it.
So where did this all come from then? How did it develop? I mean, it's been doing very well, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's done. It's kind of done better than I expected it to go, almost, because it's one of those things where I think I just sort of started it in lockdown, like wrote a character, and I'd always enjoyed performing, and then it kind of like resonated with people. I think mainly just because people are so disappointed in men and their love lives, and that was kind of what resonated with people, and they really loved the character, for better or for worse, because I'm not sure if she's a good person, but yeah, it kind of came from, I guess, my own romantic mishaps and like misadventures, and I just thought it was a really fun way to kind of bring it on stage and find a little bit of sisterhood.
It's described in your press release as a kaleidoscopic concoction of historical anachronism. Explain more.
So it's like kind of meant to sort of be set in like the past vaguely, not any specific. I feel like people have come to see the show and been quite nervous about the fact that there's like no historical accuracy, and they find that quite sort of stressful. But it's just kind of like, I've always loved history. I've always loved that period. And I just think it's like a really fun way to play with lots of comedy and jokes. And it's such a great parallel to like the world we live in today. And she kind of like serves as this really fun sort of, mirror to all the problems that like young women face now. And she's just kind of like a massive narcissist, really.
Love it.
Yeah. She's a bit of a nightmare.
So why for you are you so interested in history then? What is it about the historicals that makes you excited?
I just think it's I think it's all really funny. I studied at uni, and I feel like every time I would read anything about any period of history, I just thought it was really ridiculous. And there's just always like lots of stupid, weird characters in the past, and you're just like, how did that? Every kind of historical source I'd read, I'd be like, that's just like what actually went on here, because it feels really weird. I think it's like endlessly really funny, although I wasn't very good at it because I wasn't very good at history. I just thought that all of the stories were really interesting.
Are you in the full costumes and everything then?
The full costume. Although the costume I've got at the moment is sort of like slowly but surely falling apart, because I've like been like throwing myself around in it, and there's all sorts of like, she's got tears, but I actually think it kind of adds to it, because that kind of character would. I need to get a new costume. I need to get myself re-sewn in, because I'm bursting at the seams in that thing.
So what are we seeing on stage then?
So it is just me, which I know is a one-person show, does sort of like strike fear into the hearts of
I like seeing the fear in the performer. That's what I like.
Yeah, you will see that. And then it is basically, there's music in it. There's like, I play vaguely some different characters, to the success of which I think is up to the audience, whether they're convincing or not. But yeah, it basically opens with her trying to find a husband before her 27th birthday. Otherwise, something terrible will happen. And she has to deal with a curse, and she has to find a long lost aunt, and she has to find a husband, and there's all sorts of like weird things that go on in that quest.
Sounds like a lot of pressure on your character throughout this thing.
Yeah, there's a lot going on.
Yeah.
She doesn't deal very well with the pressure.
My goodness me. Now, we're going to be getting this at the Fairfield Social Club on the 15th of March. Have you've been done stuff here before?
No, I used to live in Manchester, but I've never actually...
Oh, whereabouts?
So I used to work in Salford at
yes.
the Alchemist randomly.
Near the Lowry?
Yeah, which was a random sort of era, a chapter in my life.
Definitely want to get behind this, and we will be doing indeed 15th of March over at the Fairfield Social Club. For now, though, Rosalie, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. Bye.
So there we go. That was Rosalie Minnit.
Yes.
Sounds quite good, that one.
It certainly does.
Yeah, full of humour, obviously, being at the Frog and Bouquet.
Yes.
Sounds good. Frog and Bouquet.
Yes.
What's French for frog?
Giro, is it?
It's not as good as frog, is it?
No,
I don't like frogs,
frog and the bouquet.
Don't like frogs.
Oh, I quite like frogs.
No.
Have you eat them anyway? You like frogs?
No, I don't eat frogs. I eat snails.
Snails. You
escargot.
Like
yes. I'm not as posh as this episode's making me sound, you know.
No,
I am from Wigan, and if push came to push, I'd sooner have a pie.
Yes.
I would, honestly. Listen, we've got some things coming up in a few weeks, haven't we?
I know, it's very exciting, isn't it? But we can't say much.
No. It's going to be very, very exciting.
So we have birthdays and anniversaries.
Birthdays. So we're going to be celebrating 400 episodes of Your Manchester.
Yes.
7 years of Your Manchester.
Yes.
And my 21st.
And how many months?
In dog years?
I know. And we're going to be making some announcements on our 400th birthday and our whatever it is. How many years?
7.
Is it 7?
7 years.
Oh, it was 8.
Could be.
I think it is.
2018.
18, 19, 20, 21.
7.
Oh, 7.
7.
I thought we did 7
last
time.
We had Bobby from Dallas for the 6.
6.
Yeah.
Right. So 7 years. So we're going to have some big announcements, aren't we?
Big
announcements.
Can't
say anything much. Can you give us a hint or not?
Well, I can give you a hint because you will find various hints coming up in the next few weeks on our Instagram, everybody.
Yes.
Yes. It's all going to be on there. We're going to drip it.
Yeah, thank you. We're back to Satan kidney pies.
We're going to be dripping it.
We're going to be everywhere.
Bread and dripping. Anyway, so we're going to be dripping it. We're going to give you little nuggets of everything, but basically it's all fantastic. It's all quite exciting.
Yes, it certainly is. We know what's happening.
Yes.
So do stick with us, and we're on Tickery Talk, where you'll find all the funny bits, and we're everywhere.
We are everywhere.
Yes, we are.
Literally.
And on a Sunday, Uncle Stephen is around with his podcast, that we do feature heavily on that, and you will also find a bit of exclusivity on that as well. So do follow us.
Oh, flower. Now, what if people want to get involved in advertising with us? They want us to tell us about products. How do they do that, my love?
So if you go to yourmcr.com, we are Manchester's #1 talk show. If you'd like to come in as an advertiser, sponsor us, whether it's one show, a month's worth of shows, preferably a year's worth of shows.
Yes.
And if you'd like us to come out and visit your business, which we do, and if you don't, well, there are restraining orders. If you don't. And of course, we do our live shows, and there's sponsorship opportunities there. So go to yourmcr.com, get in touch, and one of our friendly team will get in touch back with you.
Indeed, they will. But for now, though, we are slightly out of time.
We are.
Because we chat, don't we?
Well, indeed. And I'm going to give you a recipe for baked cheese in a minute, but we'll do that after we've gone off.
Oh, very nice. In the meantime, thanks to each and everyone for watching this week's episode of Your Manchester.